Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to class this week. I hope your week has been great and it's been very eventful, the positive side, I mean. So we would kick off class as usual right away. So I think we stopped at HTML classes, class attributes last week or this week Sunday, actually. And we learned also about block and inline elements. So we're able to see what block elements are and how they behave and act. We're also able to see how the inline elements act as well and what they are. We're shown a couple of samples of, we were shown those inline tags or inline elements. Before we then move to the class attributes, where we see how you can apply CSS style to a particular class, how you can specify the class in your CSS properties or code. So this evening, we'll move on to the brother of or the sister of class attributes. And we're looking at ID attributes this evening. I'm sure that we are reading and studying slides that I upload. For some reason, the recording of the last class was just refusing to upload to YouTube. And each time I try to upload it, after uploading, usually it will process first, and then after processing, it's supposed to be available for people to view. But then it's at the processing that thing just stops. And when I check my YouTube studio, I found out that it tells me that the processing was abandoned. I don't know who abandoned, whether it was me or YouTube itself. But I tried that over and over and over again. It wasn't working. So I decided to just upload it straight up to the classroom and also to the Telegram group. So the video is there on the classroom and also on the Telegram group. Yeah, so today we'll continue. We'll continue from ID attributes, and it's also as interesting as the class attributes too. So we kick off from here. How many people do we have in class? We have 9. Okay, I guess others will join along the way. So the HTML ID attribute is used to specify a unique ID for an HTML element. You cannot have more than one element with the same ID in an HTML document. So here we see a difference between the ID and class. For class, you can apply the class name to more than one element. But for ID, you can only apply the ID element to just one, the ID attribute to just one element. Yes. So we've seen this ID attribute in action when we were doing bookmarking with the links. We've seen it in action, the one we did with jumping from chapter 4 to chapter 5. I want to believe we can remember that lesson. So we continue as it is. So using the ID attributes. The ID attribute specifies a unique ID for an HTML element. The value of the ID attribute must be unique within the HTML document. So if you have an HTML page, 2 elements cannot have the same ID value. So you cannot name 2 elements the same name. So also it is when we are doing programming. You cannot have, there's something we call controls. You cannot have two controls having the same name. There'll be error in the coding. The ID attribute is used to point to a specific style declaration in a style sheet. It is also used by JavaScript to access and manipulate the elements with specific ID. So what that is saying is that you use the ID attribute to apply a specific declaration in your style sheet. Okay. It is used to apply specific declaration to an element, from your style sheet. We can also use it in JavaScript. And JavaScript is not part of this course, but we'll just touch on very tiny thing on JavaScript during this course. Maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow, but we'll just like pass through JavaScript. We're not going to do anything at all on JavaScript. We're going to be using JavaScript, I think, in one of the chapters. Okay. So ID attribute is also useful when you are using JavaScript or VB script with your HTML code. So using the syntax for the ID attributes, when you want to specify the ID attributes, is that you proceed with a hashtag or hash symbol or a pound sign followed by the ID name. Then you can go ahead and define the CSS properties within the curly braces. So what you're saying is that in your style sheet, in your style elements, when you want to specify an ID, what you do is that you proceed with an hashtag or hash symbol, okay, followed by the name of the ID, okay, then you define the CSS properties. We're going to try that as time goes on very shortly. So in the following example, we have an H1 element that points to the ID name my header. The H1 element will be styled according to the my header style definition in the head section. So if you look at this code right now, so we see the style element starting from here. And after that, we have a hash my header. This is an ID declaration here that we're seeing here. This is an ID declaration. So if you go to this part of the code here, you see that H1 ID equals my header. Remember, when you're giving it a value, you don't add the hashtag. The hashtag here is only telling the HTML document that there's an ID declaration here. So it looks out for just the my header. Anything after the hash symbol is what it looks out for. All right. So we're going to quickly try this code. So quickly launch your VS Code very quickly. And we're going to try this code. As usual, create a Day12 folder. Create a Day12 folder under your HTML folder, Day12. Just as I'm doing, please go ahead and do yours as well. If you have questions within the course of this class, please do not hesitate to ask. So under the 12, we create a new HTML file. Just name it ID1. Just name it ID1.html. So here, Sujua will create our
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, so I have problem with my VS Code. So whenever I want to debug and run a debug, it will bring out some code in settings icon that it will bring some code and it will not debug.
Okay, there's something wrong there. Okay, so what I will ask you to do, instead of going through debug, instead of you going through debug, what you do, there's this on the tab of the file you're working with. Like, can you see my mouse?
Yes, sir.
So on the tab, right click on it and click show in browser. Okay.
Okay, sir.
When you click show in browser, it will launch the code in your browser. But what you need to do before doing that, you must make sure you have saved the file. Okay. So please try and do that. Okay. Okay, so let's proceed. So we've created our HTML document here. Some of these things you're seeing here, we'll still get to them. Meta, title. There's some other ones also that resides inside this head section. We'll still get to them in the course of the following days anyway. Maybe tomorrow, Seth, or next. But we'll still get to them and we'll know what they actually do and what they mean. All right. So we'll go straight to under this title, we'll create our style element. Please make sure you're coding at your hand there and just type out this code that you see on the screen from the style element. So I type my hash #, then my header, curly braces open up and closing, background color, light blue. And then I'll go next line, color, black. Now I'll go next line, padding, 40 pixels. To the next line, text align, center. And I think we are done with defining our CSS properties. So we go straight into the body and type in our H1, the body right here, H1, ID attribute equals to my header. Remember, you don't need to add the hash symbol or the #. My header. So if you, when you're done typing, save your work. If you look at the preview session here, you can see that my header is taking a new shape in the sense that this text now is now in the middle, called this line of property. You can see the padding areas. The top side tells you that this thing is actually padded, and that is controlled by this. And then we have the color of the text, black. It is in black. Then background color is light blue. If you're done with this, please let me know in the chat window. Now let's try something here. Sorry, where's my Visual VS Code? So let's try something. I want to, so we're told that we can't have more than one element having one ID. So paragraph, this, let me say this is a paragraph. Okay. So I want to apply the same ID name to this paragraph as my header. So as you can see, it still worked, okay? But the reason you should not have the same ID for your elements, especially when we go into what we call full-blown programming. Because when you apply a particular property to this element with the same ID, there's going to be a problem. Because an ID is like the name of that element right now. So when you're coding and you're trying to reference the name of this element, which is my header here, your code, you may run into problems. So always try to maintain one ID name per element. So that's the way, that's the very good programming technique that you should be using. Okay, Esther, well done. Naomi, well done. And Tosin, well done. So let's move on from here. So note, the ID name is case sensitive. That's something you must know. Well done, Daniel. ID name is case sensitive. Let's test this now. Let's say I change the ID name here to this. You can see there's no styling again. Why? Because I now have my starting with uppercase. So no styling. So it's different from what we have here. So your ID name is case sensitive. Please do not forget. So when you're typing, be careful what you're using. Type exactly the way you typed it in the style sheet. Specify it exactly like that here. The only thing I've said you should remove is what? The pound sign. All right. So the ID name must consist at least one character and cannot start with a number and must not contain white spaces. Means it must not contain any space, whether tabs or something. Everything must be together and it mustn't start with a number. All right. It must have at least one character. It could be pound sign A, pound sign BA, pound sign ABC, whatever you feel you want to name it. Okay. So, but it must not start with a number. Please take note of that. It mustn't start with a number. So the difference between class and ID. A class name can be used by multiple HTML elements, while an ID must only be used by one HTML element within a page. You know, they are not saying that you cannot do it, but the thing is, for good practice, so that you don't run into problems, use only one HTML, and usually use your ID once on just one HTML element while you're coding. Okay, please let us take note of that. All right. So the code to the left is you specifying an ID, while the code to the right is you specifying a class. The code to the left is specifying an ID, the code to the right specifying a class. Let's take note of that as well as another difference in case they ask you. Okay. All right, so let's move on. I mean, okay, that's a continuation of that code. So just going to move on from here. You can write that if you want to still write it when you are reading through the text. So HTML bookmarks with ID and links. The HTML bookmarks are used to allow readers to jump to a specific web page. I'm not going to really dwell on this, but I think we've done some things about bookmark. So bookmarks can be useful if your page is very long. That's what I mentioned to us. To use a bookmark, you must first create it and then add a link to it. Then when the link is clicked, the page will scroll to the location with the bookmark. So an example is what we did the last time. This is an ID that is applied to this H2 element, ID C4, that's chapter 4. Then we add a link to jump to chapter 4 from within the same page. Doing that, we specify the name of the ID inside the href, adding a pound sign and just the ID name. All right, so you can see that this pound sign is very important to add because it tells HTML that's dealing with ID. Okay, then add a link, jump from chapter 4 to another page or from another page. Okay, so let's move on. I don't want to dwell on that too much because we've done things about that already, So using the ID attribute in JavaScript. Again, don't disturb yourself too much about what you're going to see in this JavaScript right now. I think the JavaScript is an entirely another programming language on its own that you need to learn if you really want to know it. So the ID attribute is also used by JavaScript to perform some task for specific elements. Okay, Paul, did you save? You have to save first before you say show in browser. If it still did not work, let me know after the class, okay? I'll try and help you resolve that. We'll check it. Just let's follow the class for now, okay, please. You can jot things down if you need to jot things down. I'll help you resolve it. All right, so JavaScript can access an element with a specific ID with the get element ID method. So in JavaScript, there's this method that is called get element ID method. All right. course, it's as descriptive as possible. So it's easy to get the ID of an element. I mean, by ID method. So use the ID attribute to manipulate the text in JavaScript. So let's do something very quickly. Let's go up into our VS Code. Under the 12, please create a new file and name it ID JavaScript. Okay, name it ID JavaScript.html. All right, then go ahead and create our basic document structure. And under the title, inside the head section, please type in this code. Script. Remember, we're dealing with JavaScript. So function, creating a function right now in JavaScript rather. Display result. Please go ahead and type at your end too. Documents dot get document by ID. Then you specify the ID name, my header. All right. That's the ID name you've been specified there. Inner HTML. Don't worry about what those things mean, because I'm just trying to show that we can use the ID element. I mean, how the ID element is important, that you can also use it in JavaScript. Have a nice day. Okay, so I think we're done with that. So what we need to do is to run our page and see exactly what that gives to us. So again, I'm going to save, right click on this and say show in browser. Nothing is showing. Let me see what this thing told me. Some content is blocked on my own browser too. Okay. Let me see. Allow insecure content. Allow insecure content. What's this thing giving me? Okay. I don't know, maybe you're having the same issue. Don't worry, it's normal, because usually browsers are configured not to run JavaScript on the go. Reason is because most hackers use JavaScript to hack our systems or our browsers to gain access to things they are not meant to gain access into. Now, because this is not a JavaScript class, we can move on, but this just shows us that, I mean, how important the ID attribute is, even when you're working with JavaScript. Okay. So for this reason, I may have to skip the JavaScript chapter of this thing. May come back to it later. Once I have been able to get my own browser to run it, we might come back to it later. So this is the summary. The ID attribute is used to specify a unique ID for an HTML document element. The value of the attribute must be unique within the element. The ID attribute uses CSS and is used by CSS and JavaScript to style or select specific elements. The value of the ID attribute is case sensitive. The ID attribute is also used to create HTML bookmarks. JavaScript can access an element with a specific ID with get element by ID method. So that is summary of this chapter. We'll be moving to the next chapter very quickly. So here we're dealing with iframes. We're dealing with iframes now, and an iframe is majorly used to display a web page within another web page. So in the web page we can load another web page inside it. A web page that we have already, we can load another web page right inside it. So you may I mean, if we consider the way we've talked about nested listing, you can call this a nested web page. Okay, so the iframe tag specifies an inline frame. An inline frame is used to embed another document within the current HTML document. Now, your iframe can hold a video for you in your HTML document. It can hold PDF file, Word file, picture, another web page. It can hold as many things as possible for you within your HTML document. All right. So as we can see the definition or creation of the iframe element, you can see the source URL, you can see the title or description there. Now, it's a good practice to always include the title attribute for the iframe. This is used by screen readers to read out what the content of the iframe is. So that's for if you want to say, okay, the computer should read your HTML page for you. So the description, if it's created in there and the reader comes across an iframe, it is not going to, like, for example, if you are showing a movie, it's not going to start reading out what they are saying inside the movie. No. So it is the description you use to describe what video that you have loaded up in that iframe. So also we use the height and the width attributes to specify the size of the iframe. The height and the width are specified in pixels by default. You can choose to specify it in percentage if you want, okay? So looking at this iframe that we have here, all right, so what we're gonna do now, we're gonna try to, so, okay, let's go to our VS Code. We're gonna try to do these examples and see how iframe works. So we already have two files here already. So let's create another file and we call it iframe.html. Please make sure you are doing that, iframe.html. Just close all of this. So again, create our, what's it called? Document structure. And specify our iframe inside the body element. It's not in the head section, it's inside the body element, okay? That's where we specify iframe. So give it a source. Now here, I want to specify a document that I know I already have. So let me use ID1. ID1. Okay. So I'm going to be using ID1. So that's the document, the document I want to load into this my page. All right. I hope this thing works because like my screen's already showing. Okay, let's continue. Okay. 200. So that will be 200 pixel because if you don't specify, the computer takes it as defaults. And the width is 300. So as we've said, we'll give it a title. So again, your title can be as descriptive as possible. So I can still name it iframe example. Example. What's wrong with me? I'm trying to spell example since. And then we close it. Okay. So this is supposed to load up the document for us. So let's save. What do we have there, save? Let's save and see if we can load it up. I hope it shows up. You can see. Remember, this was what we created in the ID1.html. So that's the file that is currently being loaded here right now. Let me show us something. I hope this works. I want to get, I hope you've typed that so at your hand. Let me get a document from somewhere, maybe an, let me say a document that is safe to display for you guys here. I'm gonna get a document and show you how you can also load up documents inside another web page. Let's get like a PDF file. Okay, documents. So I'm going to load this Word step by step. So I'll copy this document right now. Where's copy? Yeah, copy. And I'll paste it into my Day12 folder. It's not pasting. Okay, I'll paste it manually then. So copy, I'll go to my desktop, web programming, HTML, Day12. I'll paste it here. So I'll paste it in here. It's showing now. So I can choose to change this one that I have here. Or let me create another one. Let me create another one entirely. So I'll leave the example there. So I'm going to use this document I just uploaded. So I'll type in the name of the document. If the document is in a folder, then you have to go through, you have to use that slash, the name of the folder, then slash this. That's if it's in a subfolder again within this Day12. Yeah, if they are not in the same folder, you need to specify that particular folder. I hope we all remember how to do that. So I'm going to save this. Sorry, I'm viewing a browser. So this is the document actually. And if I scroll, I'll see all the pages. Remember we said iframe is inline. That's why it's coming side by side with it. I can choose to increase, let me increase the page width here. Make this say 800. Should I do that? 1000. Okay, no, the width is too wide. Let's say the width is 500 and this is 1500. Okay, now I'll save it and I'll refresh this page. Which one did I change? Sorry. Oh, I was changing the first one. Can you imagine? So change second one for myself. I can bring this down so that I can see everything. So I can name the height as maybe, let me say 50%. Remember I said you can specify things anyhow you like your own page, 50% or 70%. 70% and that's the height. No, that's not what I want to do. What's the height again now? Let's say 1000. Let me put the height as 1000. So for the width, I'll put at 70% of the page. Okay, then I'll save it. I'll whip up my browser and then I'll refresh. So we can see it's now bigger, as you can see. So I can actually embed a PDF file using the iframe. So if you have PDF documents on your system, you can do the same thing I just did with this code here. Okay. Quickly try that while I wait for you. Quickly try it on your own side. You can use a Word file, you can use anything, PDF file, or whatever you want to use. Please feel free to use. So I'll just wait for us to try that immediately. When you're done, please put it in the chat window. All right. Well done, Esther. I hope it worked well for you, Esther. I hope it worked well for you, Daniel. I hope it worked well for both of you. When the width was increased, the first iframe will disappear. No. The first iframe will go down because they're on the same line. So if you want the first iframe to still show, right in between them, you can put in a BR element there. All right. So the BR element will shift this second one downwards. As I'm going to show you, I've put the BR element. Now let's look at it in our browser after saving. Reload. So this is it at the top, the first one. So try that. All right, great. Thank you for the feedback. Okay, so our others are trying, but let's move forward. Now, we have used this first example to specify the width and the height of our iframe. So you can also apply, instead of specifying width and height like this, you can apply style. You can use this style to apply your width and your height. I'm not going to do that in my file. You can do that on your own if you want. It's just by using the style attributes. Instead of going ahead to use the height and width attributes straight up, you can use the style attributes to specify the width and the height, excuse me. All right, so let's move forward. So iframe, remove the border. By default, the iframe has a border around it. To remove the border, add a style attribute and use the CSS border property. So what we are saying here is by default, our iframe has a border around it. Okay, there's a very tiny border around it. If you can look very closely, it's right there. So to remove that border, would apply style. He said, yes, that. Where did you pick Word document from, Hirochuku? He said, yes, it's that downloading Word documents. Did you pick the Word document from internet? Yeah, why is it still downloading? That's very funny. Yeah, it is evident in the first frame. Yeah, the border is evident in the first frame. Here's my first frame. Yeah, you can see the border, exactly. So to remove that border, we're going to apply the style attributes and set the border to none. Okay, we apply the style attribute and set the border to none. But let's work with the first frame here. Okay, so let's apply style attributes right here. I can put it after the title. So I just say style. And then I'll continue writing my CSS border, border. And I'll set it to none. Okay. All right. You may want to try with a PDF file. Maybe convert your Word to PDF, Hirochuku, and let's see if that works for you. Okay, so I have applied style here, border to none. So I can save now. If I go into my browser here, and I click and I reload. So you can see that the border around the first iframe is gone, entirely gone. So we're going to do the same thing to the second one. Well done, Esther. So let's do the same to the second one. Yes, border was removed. So let's apply the same style to the second one. Style equal to border. We set it to none. Okay. So we save. We'll whip up our browser. If you look very well, there's that border there. Okay. Then reload, and the border is gone. There's no more border there right now. There's no more border there right now. So that is how you remove border from around your iframe. Okay. That's how you remove border from around your iframe if you don't want border there at all. Around your iframe, you can remove it. One moment, please. So let's go on. So the next thing we want to do, so with the CSS, you can also change the size, style, and color of the iframe. Okay, so below of the iframe border rather. So we're going to apply to this second iframe. We're going to apply style. We're going to apply style to the border of the iframe. So I want you to, let's give border to our second iframe, the one that contains the PDF document or that contains the document. I don't know what document you are using at your hand, but I'm using a PDF document. So we'll apply a style to the border. So here we're applying border to be 2 pixels. Okay, solid, and we want it to be in red. All right. So of course, as you can see from our preview here, we already have a red border around that iframe. So, but we're going to view it in a browser. Like I said, always view your stuff in a browser to know exactly what you get. Yeah, it works well with PDF. Okay, so let's look at it. Reload. So you can see the red border around it. It's a red border around the documents now because we applied it to the iframe. Okay, well done, Esther. All right, so that's how you work with borders around your iframe. You can choose to style your border anyhow you want to style it. You don't want the red color, you can change the red to something else. If you want, you want it to be thicker, you can increase your pixel, to 2 or to 4, 6, 8, 10, whatever number that works for you. I hope we are coding along with me as I'm teaching you. All right, so let's move to the next slide. An iframe can be used as a target frame for a link. The target attribute of the link must be referred to the name attribute of the iframe. The target attribute for that link must be referred to the name of the iframe. So in this document right now, we can see there's a name for this iframe here. Yeah, a name attribute is being applied here. All right. And what we want to load is this document here. So we're going to still leave our document the way it is. So what we're going to do now is to say, let me see how this thing works. Okay, so let's type this code and let's see what happens. Okay, so before we type the code, let us create a new frame. Copy this first frame that you have, copy it. Let's copy it and paste it right under the first frame. Paste it right under the first frame. After the BR, paste the new one you did, and also type a BR there. Add your BR elements there as well. All right, so that everything becomes like this. I'm going to try and format my document. Okay, so we have the first frame, second frame, third frame. So this is our second frame that we've been working with. I'm just going to bring this down. So this is the second frame we are going to be working with now. Okay, so we are going to give it a name. I'm just going to add the name after the style color. I mean, after the styling there, and I'll say name. What should we name it now? Let's name it day 12. So the name is day 12. Okay, we name it as day 12. Okay, so from this code we are seeing here with these guys here, something tells me we should put this in another document. Okay, guys, let's put this, what we are doing here, in another document entirely. Let's create a new HTML document. Sorry, so that we don't confuse ourselves. So let's create a new HTML document. Name it iframe2, or how should we name it now? Sorry. Okay, just name it iframe target.html. iframe target.html. So apply the normal structure, and then paste in that one we copied from the initial document. Can paste it in here. So we have the document here. We have the frame here. So right underneath as well, we could say, so what I'm going to type now is this in a paragraph. Sorry. So I'm going to say a href equal to, let me just close up this guy. So href equal to, I could say www.youtube, or let me say google.com. Google.com, okay. Or better still, https google.com. All right, then I'll now say target equal to, I named it what? Day 12. Equal to day 12. Okay. So I can type in, I can say open Google website. How we are following, just type what I'm typing. Okay. How we are following, open Google website, then I'll save it. Now everybody look up, please try and look up. Let me not say, should be none again. I'm taking out my style because I want us to see the border. So you can see that border now. So I'll save my work. So I'm going to run this in a browser. So we can see that the initial document I have is what is here. I want to increase this border size. Height is 500, and then I'll make this one 600. You can't see my code. Okay, hold on. Can you see it now? Hello, Esther, can you see my code now? Okay. Thank you. So that's the code. So let me just quickly show you what will happen. Okay, please look up. Look to my screen. I'm going to reload this. So you can see that it's bigger now because I've resized it. So what I expect to happen here remember when we did the target thing with a tag link where we want the page to open in. Okay, but right here now, we will not, when we've said that the page should open inside this frame by specifying, sorry, where's my code? By specifying the name of the frame in our target. Remember, we've named this frame using the name attribute. We've named it what? Day 12. Okay. And we've said in this link here, we want to open this particular page, this website in whatever day 12 is. Okay. With this target. All right. So looking at here, what we expect to happen is that when I click on open Google website, instead of it opening this entire page or opening in another tab, it will open within this frame. So let's see that in action. I refuse to connect. Okay. Let me see my link. Well, you can see that it's trying to open within that page. Okay. No, Google refused to connect. Let's see why Google has refused to connect. Okay, let me use another. Let me use CNN, for example. So that web page is supposed to open right in there. I don't know why that is not opening. Okay. There's something wrong somewhere. Ordinarily, it's supposed to open the page for me. So what am I doing wrong? Or is it my system? Let me try another browser. Same thing is happening. Refuse to connect. Okay. Okay, so I think we'll move forward. So what I'm just going to do at my leisure times to check why it's not displaying the web page. I don't know if yours is displaying, if you've tried it. I'm sure if mine is giving me this problem, should be giving you two problem too. So I'm going to check why. It may be a setting on our system that is blocking it for security reasons. Okay, so I'll check and then I'll get back to us with whatever I find. Yep. Somebody sending me any message here. Okay. All right, let's continue. But that's basically what it is. Another thing you can do with that, remember you can actually also load a document in there, replacing the one that is already there. So for example, if I take out this, let me say I take out this stuff now, and I use this file here instead. Oh, on Mozilla is opening. Okay, let's try Mozilla. Someone said it's opening on Mozilla. So like I said, it may be a browser thing or something on our system that is causing it. Okay, let's try it on Mozilla. Same thing is happening on my end. Maybe something on my system actually that is blocking the site from opening, because my system is like a FBI system. So a lot of security things I've put in place right there. Is yours opening, Esther? Okay, it's not opening as well. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Don't worry, we'll figure it out. So now I have changed it to a document that I know resides on my system anyway. So let's try and see what happens. Let me reload this. Okay. So you can see that the document is opening here. All right. Document is opening right inside the same frame where our first document was opening, the same frame. I click this. So that's what's supposed to happen with the website as well. But maybe because that's the website, so our system is probably blocking it from opening. Maybe a thing with our antivirus or something. But let's move on. So that is basically how you can, link up a document within, open up a document or a website from within your iframe. Okay, or making your iframe a target for a link, as the case may be. Any question? A lot of people I know in class today, I don't know why. They've forgotten that today there's class today. Okay, let's move on. So this is chapter summary. The HTML iframe tag specifies an inline frame. The source attribute defines the URL for the page to embed. Always include a title attribute for screen readers. The height and weight attributes specify the size of the frame, while the border, use border none to remove the border of the frame. All right. So for example, some may say create a web page and embed a document on it. This is how you will do it. Okay. They may say create a web page and embed a video file on it. You can actually do it this way, because I can actually, okay, let's try something. Let me show us something. Removing the border is not a must. It's just that it's good to remove the borders so that your page does not look funny, especially if you're adding, if you're embedding something like a document or sorts. So I want to quickly show us something. I want to embed a video file as opposed to a document. Okay, I want to embed a video file as opposed to a document. So let me go and get a video document or a video file and put inside. Let me use this video file, for example. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to put it inside the web page, web programming stuff, my Day12. So I just want to show you how interesting iframe is when working with. I hope it will show. I hope my system will not block it. So we can as well copy video link from it. Yes, of course, and embed. True. You can do that. You can do absolutely that. That is not going to be a problem. You can do absolutely that. So I'm just going to create a new frame right here. And I paste it. So I have a new frame there. So I'm going to, instead of this id1.html, I'm going to embed my video file in there. It's RTEF. Okay, yeah. So I'm going to embed that video file in there. I'll save my work. Go to my browser, refresh the browser. And I have my video file here. I can play it. See? You see? So I've embedded a video file on my web page. All right. So those are the things you can do with what will I call it now? With iframe. Some of the things you can do with iframe. I'm sure you can embed anything at all that your web page can display inside your iframe. All right. So we're just going to move on now. Okay. HTML, JavaScript. I want to skip this chapter. Because of the problem we encountered, so that we're not just talking without seeing something. But once I resolve that issue, I'll come back to this chapter and we'll take this chapter. So please pardon me. Okay, check this chapter some other time. So we just look at HTML file parts now, which I already think we are a bit kind of familiar with. But let's just talk about it. Okay. So a file path describes the location of a file in a website's folder structure. A file path describes the location of a file in a website's folder structure. So your website may have different folders. Like I told us before, you can have a separate folder for images. You can have for CSS files. You can have for documents. You can have for different things, for videos, and host of other things, depending on whichever way you want to structure your own website. So we're going to be talking about file paths and how to really specify those things. We've done it during the course of previous chapters, but it's just going to be like a refresher course for you on this particular chapter. So you can see number one, we see image source equals to picture.jpg. The picture.jpg is the picture.jpg file is located in the same folder as the current page. That's why you're not seeing any backslash there. Okay. The second one, we can see images/picture.jpg. What this means is that the picture.jpg file is located inside the images folder in the current folder. There's an image folder in the current folder where the particular page is residing. All right. Then we also have /images/picture folder. The picture image file is located in the images folder at the root of the current web page or website. Okay. We're going to be checking those ones later. Then we have source /picture.jpg. Now this means that the picture file is located in the folder one level up from the current folder. Don't worry, don't try to understand now. We would understand this other one. I know we've used the second and the first one. We've sometimes used the third one too. And I only used this last one, I think once or so for us. But we'll get to understand those things later. Because by the time we start developing a full-fledged website, we're going to understand all these things much better. We're going to see them in action. We've seen some, I've shown us some before, actually. So a file path describes the location of a file of a website's folder structure. The file paths are used when linking to an external file like web pages, images, style sheets, and JavaScript. So we remember where we talked about absolute file paths and relative file paths. So that's what we are coming back to here now. An absolute file path and an absolute file path is the full URL of that file. And when we say the full URL, the entire thing that makes up the file path, including the file name itself. So in this example, we can see that there's the https://www.w3schools.com/images/picture.jpg. Okay, so that is an absolute file path. It shows the entire file path, the full URL of that file or to that file. Then we talk about relative file paths. The relative file path points to a file relative to the current page. In the following example, as we can see below, the file path points to a file in the images folder located in the root of the current web. Okay. There's a folder. So what this is saying that there's a folder where your HTML file is residing. In that same folder where your HTML file is residing, you also have a folder called images. And that's where the picture file is residing. And that's when you specify it this way. All right. I hope we understand. So the following example file path points to a file in the images folder of the current folder. This is what we have said before. Now, the following example below, that's the next one I'm talking about now. The one below, the file path points to a file in the images folder located in a folder one level up, okay, from the current folder. Okay, so what it means is, let me show us an example. Can I show us an example? Okay, let me come here. Now, I'm trying to describe this last one here. Okay, so what they are saying here invariably is that I'm in this folder, and in this folder is Day12. Okay, but my images folder, where I want to pick that image from, is in another folder. Which folder has a folder? Where are the ones I created before? So let's say, for example, this CSS file. So there's a CSS folder. No, this is not a good example I want to use. So this Day2 now, there's an image folder here. So if I want to add, pick a file or display this banner inside, from my Day1 folder, Day12 folder here, I want to display this image, in this Day2. That is when I use something like this. Okay. So something like, the folder is one level up. All right. Is one level up from the file that I'm trying to access this picture from within it. Okay. Okay. So let's proceed. So best practices. It is best to use relative file paths if possible. I have a question. Okay, well done, Paul. Thank you for solving your problem. So when using relative file paths, your web page will not be bound to your current base URL. All link will work on your own computer, that's localhost, as well as your own current public domain and your future public domain. So what this is saying is, if you are referencing a file, make sure it's within your own website. Don't go and put a file in someone else's website and say you still want to reference it. And we mentioned this before, that it is possible that that other person's site, the person may choose to move that file from where it is and put it somewhere else. And it won't come and tell you, and your website won't know that the file is missing from there. People go to your own website trying to find that file, but they can't find it. You understand? So always try to use relative file paths. What that informs you to do is let all your resources be within your own website. All your resources should be within your own website, except you are trying to direct them to another website or another web page. But if there's a particular file you're trying to access from your own website, download the file, put it inside your own website, but make sure you add copyright information so that they will not sue you. I hope that makes sense to us. If you don't understand, don't worry, you can ask me questions. Yes, I didn't know that we're going to get to this guy today. Excuse me. The add elements. We all know this guy here, this guy that is containing all these things. Meta, title. All right. So we're going to be learning about some or all of the elements that can exist within this add section. So we're going to be talking about them now. So I would like us to pay attention. Let's pay attention here. It's good for us to learn about this, especially those of us that really want to code in HTML. So the add element is a container for the following elements: title, style, meta, link, script, and base. The add element is a container for metadata, that's data about data, okay? And is placed in between the HTML tag and the body tag. Between the HTML tag and the body tag. Then we also have, sorry, give me 1 minute. So HTML metadata is data about the HTML document. Metadata is not displayed. So those things in the add element, you can't see them in your web page. They are not displayed, but they are usually used to talk about the HTML document itself. Okay. For example, they use it in SEO a lot. We're going to see an example of what SEOs use it for as well. Metadata typically defines the document title, character set, style, script, and other method information. So let's now look at the title element. The title element, this guy that we see here, title element, okay? The title element defines the title of the document, as we've seen before. I've showed us that before. And the title must be text only, and it is shown in the browser's title bar or in the pages tab. It is shown in the browser's title bar or in the pages tab. The title element is required in HTML documents. So what that is saying to us is, let me create a new file so that we can work with. New file, and name it ed.html. Okay, ed.html. So let me create my structure. Bam. So this title here is what we're talking about right now. So let me just save and run this document in browser. So as you can see, let me close all these things. So as you can see here, the title here says documents because that's what is within the title page here. So if I say HTML ed elements chapter, this is what is going to show, or what is expected to show. Yes, exactly, just like the assignment I gave you, the title. Correct, Esther, well done. So going back here, I'll refresh, just check, look at what is going to happen here on this title of this page. It's going to change. And reload. Can you see? The title has changed to what I typed in my code right here, what I specified. So that's the job of the title element within the ed tag and within the ed element, okay? So it gives a title to the page. So the content of the page title is very important for search engine optimization. So those of you that want to go into SEO, that's one thing you need to take note of. When your search engine is searching, they also look at the title of the page, if it's relating to whatever the visitor is searching for, so that the page can also be displayed. So the page title is used by search engine algorithms to decide the order when listing pages in search results. The title element defines the title of the browser toolbar, also provides the title for the page when it is added to favorites. It displays the title for the page in search engine results. All right. So what that is telling us is this. So if I come to Google now and say, I want to search for maybe law firms, I say law firms in Lagos. So maybe that's what I'm searching for. So you see this thing, this one you see here is actually the title of the page. So your search engine makes use of the title of the page to display the results. So if I click on this page now, let's see if it leads us to hold on. Yeah. Sorry, let me look at that again. Okay, it's open the page for the man. So there's a place there on this page that is talking about this particular organ on the title page. So you may not see it here like this because we're on the home page of this document, of this website. But however, there's a page on that website that carries this title. Same goes for this one. Okay, so on a full-fledged website, you may not be seeing it there like that because they possibly have used another program to specify, sorry, excuse me, to specify the particular thing to display here, maybe by the use of JavaScript or whatever programming language they may be using. All right. But basically, your search engine uses that page title to list your page on the results that we have. Okay. So let's try making the title as accurate and meaningful as possible. Simple, blah, blah, blah. I don't think we need to code this. We've done it before in our assignment. So, but you can try it at your own time. I don't want us to waste time doing this. And that is what I've also done for us here. We'll get the file after the class anyway. So let's do style. Now for style, we've been working with style. So I'm not going to ask us to code anything with style. Working with style, styling our page, styling our document, doing the CSS codes and all that. We've been doing that. So there's not much for me to say to you here. We know what it's used for. So the style element is used to define styles information for a single HTML page. We already know that because we've been working with that anyway. So we come to link. So the link element defines the relationship between the current document and an external source. The link tag is most often used to link an external style sheet. When we introduced style sheet to us, CSS, we saw where we used link, to try and load up a style sheet that resides outside our HTML documents. And that was what worked for us. Okay. I think we use this link for something else. I've forgotten what we use it for again. I can't remember right now, but I know we use it for something else aside this style sheet linking. So it is used, you use to link an external resource, to your own web page. Then we have the meta. The meta element is typically used to specify the character set, page description, keywords, author of the document, and viewpoint settings. Okay, an anchor tag. Yeah, thank you. The anchor tag. So the title and the style attributes are used in the head tag. Yeah, they are inside the head section, the head elements. So this is it here, Esther, so that you see what I'm talking about. So your style, remember you put your style right under the head section, the title, when we've been coding with the style distance since. You put it in here. So that's what happens. So the style resides inside the head section or head elements. I hope you understand. Yeah, we use the link for the favor icon. Thank you, Silas. I think, yeah, I remember now. That's what we use it for. Yes, thank you very much. So let's come to meta, and I want us to listen very well to meta. Okay, there are a couple of things we use meta to define here, which is the page description, keywords, author of the document, blah, 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 like that. So I think this page description is what most of the websites are using to display on our search engines. I think that's what they are using mostly. So the meta will not be displayed on the page, but it is used by browsers, by search engines as well, used by browsers for how to display content or reload the page. It's used by search engines for keywords and other web services as well. All right, so those are uses of meta. Okay, so here we're going to see examples of meta, what you can use it for and how to define it or declare it. Okay, so example number 1, we define the character sets. Character set, this one is UTF-8. The browser and search engine tends to use this code for something. Okay, if we go to the next one, define keywords for search engines. So we have meta, name, keywords, all right? Content, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, you can continue on and on, define, as much keywords as you want to define, so that when search engines are searching for anything HTML, your page will display. Anything CSS, your page will display. JavaScript, your page will display. Tutorial, your page will display. Class, anything that you want search engine to be able to use to identify your page, you just put it here within the content. So it's not limited to just 3. You can use as much as possible. I'm sorry, we can't test this now because our website is not on the internet. So search engines will definitely not find it. So we're just trying to test. Trying to see what we use meta for. All right. Another use of meta is for your description of the web page. So name, description. Remember, the name here says keywords. Name here is description. All right. And then the content is free web tutorials. You just give it a description there. Then the next one is the author of the page, meta, name, author, content, John Doe. Now, we can see that we are using the same tag, but different names. Take note of that. The same tag, different names. So when your browser, your search engine is searching, it will know that this one is for author, this one is for description. It knows what to do. It knows how to display the result based on what the visitor has searched for. If the visitor is searching for author, it knows that this is the method that is going to use to search or to provide the results. If it's for a description of a page or a page that has this description in it, it's going to use descriptions. All right. So your browser knows what all these things mean. It knows and understands it. So also we look at refresh document every 30 seconds. So if you want your page to refresh every 30 seconds, you can add this meta to it. HTTP equiv refresh equals to refresh 30 seconds or 30. So I want us to try this one. Let's see. Let's still use this guy here. So what I want to do, I'm going to add this code to my page. I'm going to add it right under this last meta. So every meta is the same, is together. Okay. And I say HTTP dash equiv, okay, equals to refresh. And I say content. This time around, I'm going to put 5 seconds because we can't be waiting for 30 seconds. I don't want to wait for 30 seconds, okay? So I'll save it, all right? So I think I have it open already, do I? No, I don't. Do I? Yes, I do. So this is the page. So it's better to reload every 5 seconds, but I'm going to reload it now so that I can take in the code I just entered to it. What happened? Did I destroy something there right now? Uh-oh. See what, if you type your wrong code, what can cause? Refresh. So I'm going to refresh the page here. So ordinarily, I want to put my attention here to see what happens after 5 seconds, if that works. I'm waiting. Waiting. Why is this not refreshing? Let me check again. Let me put 30 seconds. Let's see. Let me save. I'll reload this. Reload. Let me even try and do it this way. This is supposed to refresh 30 seconds. I'm waiting, still waiting, still waiting, still waiting. Is it a second already? I don't know. Let's wait. Okay, yours refreshed. Are you okay on your Mozilla? It's refreshed. Yeah, it's supposed to refresh by itself. Okay, Mozilla seems to be a better browser. I don't know. Let me try my own Mozilla too. For all this thing that we're doing here. Oh, it just refreshed though. The stupid thing just refreshed. I just saw this page refreshed. However, let me take it back to 5 seconds, please. 30 seconds seems to be too long for me. Save. Yes, it's supposed to refresh automatically without us clicking on refresh. Okay, you can see that it worked on Mozilla, it refreshed. So let's even test. So on Mozilla is just refreshing every 5 seconds. Let me see if this will work too. Chrome may actually be working too, but I think Chrome's refresh rate is too fast, sort of. This, it's working. I can see it refreshing. So now to actually show you that it's refreshing, let's add something to this. Let's add an H2 tag element and say it has refreshed so that we can see it. So what I want to do now, I'm going to save this document with, and I will not refresh manually by myself. I'll allow it to refresh itself. So I'm saving now. So I've saved. So let's see, you can see it has appeared. I didn't refresh anything. So I'm going to do something again. I'm going to add another H2 to it. And I'll save. Then leave it to refresh. You can see the second one is there. So that code helps you to refresh your page automatically. All right. So we will go back to our slides. So this is the code here. You can try different duration at your hand. Then we have the setting the viewport to make your website look good on all devices. Now, this particular one helps. Some of us must have somehow on your phone. You're displaying a website, but you are used to the website, the way this website displays on the system, on the computer. Then your phone, most likely Chrome browsers, they have what we call desktop view or something like that on the browser. So when you click on desktop view, it shows you exactly how it will look like on a computer system. If you switch it off, it will show you the way it's supposed to look like on the phone. So let's look at, I didn't have that sample here. I was going to have a sample. Okay, so what that does is it will adjust itself based on the width and display the content as possible. This is not about what's that thing called now? Responsive website is a different thing entirely, but it tries to display your web page in the right way it's supposed to display. If I get an example of it, I will send it to us on the Telegram group so that we can also try and understand what it is that it's talking about. Okay, but let's move on. So these are examples of Meta. You can try them on your hand if you want to. That may help you. So set the viewport. Okay, I think this is where my example is from. So the viewport is the user's visible area of a website. It varies with the device. It will be smaller on a mobile phone than on a computer. Yeah, the meta viewpoint is in the HTML document structure already. Yeah, okay. So it's there already. I can see it is here. Okay. Thank you, Esther. Well, let's know what it does now. You should include the following meta elements in all your web pages. And that's exactly what we have here in our metadata. So it's good that we have them. Okay. All right. So this gives the browser instruction on how to control the web pages, dimension, and scaling. Like I said, it gives the browser, it tells the browser how to, tells the browser to display that web page in a way that you'll be able to read and see it properly. That's what it does. So let's move on. So the width equals to device width. The width equals to device width part. Set the width of the page to follow the screen width of the device, which will vary depending on devices. Okay. The initial scale equals to 1.0. Set the initial zoom level when the page is first loaded by the browser. Now, an example of a page with without the viewport meta tag and the same page with viewport meta tag. This is the example we are seeing here. This particular one is without viewport meta tag. This one you're seeing, you can see the way the page is displayed, all right, on a mobile device. But when you add that viewport meta tag, it will display the page like this. So which one is better? Of course, the one that has a meta tag. So that's why they say that it is important that you add that particular meta to your web page element, this particular guy here. Always add it to your web page element. Okay, so tips: if you are browsing this page with a phone or a tablet, you can click on links below to see the difference. So what we are doing here, if you view on a device, this web page on a smaller device, this is what you see without the viewport, and this is with the viewport. All right. So that helps us to understand the importance of viewport in your meta tag. Now the script, again, I'm not going to do this JavaScript because it's not going to show me what I want. We've seen script in action when we did tested JavaScript in the previous chapter. So of course, that's what it does. It is used to run scripts, JavaScript, VB scripts, and so on like that. Any script you want to run on your page, you can use the script element to do that. Okay. Then we have the base. The base element specifies the base URL or the target for all relative URLs in a page. The base tag must have either an href or a target attribute present, or both. There can only be one base element in a document, as opposed to meta that can have multiple there. Okay. So the base element specifies the default URL and the default targets for all links. Please give me a moment, please. Let me just want to respond to someone here. Okay. So if we look at the code here, we can see the base href here. So usually it will be your website URL anyway. So that's like the home page of the website. All right. So it just tells the page that this is the default URL for this web page or for this website if you have to go anywhere. So so there's not much to talk about the base elements anyway. So this is a summary of our chapter. As we can see, head element, the container for metadata, data about data. Head element is placed between the HTML tag, title element is required, and it defines the title of the page. The style element is there to use to define style information, the link to link up external style sheets and other things. The meta, we've seen metadata in action, meta in action, for page description, keywords, author, and documents. We've seen the script for JavaScript client-side programming scripting. And the base, we specify the base URL or the target for relative URLs. All right. And also, we have some elements that you need to also get yourself acquainted with when it comes to the head elements. So you study all this when you have time to do so. All right, tomorrow we'll continue from here, where we talk about HTML layout elements and techniques. Here we're going to be seeing, and I don't want you to miss tomorrow's class. Please don't miss tomorrow's class. Very important, because you're going to be seeing things that you can use to create something like this kind of web page tomorrow. So let's ensure that we're in class tomorrow. If you have friends that missed the class today, please call them and tell them they should not miss tomorrow's class. All right. So we'll close here tonight. I'm going to say thank you to all of you that attended class today. God bless you real good. Yeah, the attendance is up already. I believe it's up already. You can actually go up now. You should already be in your classroom page. The attendance should be in your classroom page already, waiting for you to clock in your attendance. Okay, I scheduled that. It should. Yep, it's up now. It's up. So I only have 6 of you only. that have registered. Okay, that has marked attendance. So the rest of you should please go ahead, mark your attendance, and we'll see you again tomorrow with more HTML codes. All right, so I pray that all that you've learned today will stick to your brain, to your mind, and you will understand it more and more as you go for reviewing and revising of it. It shall come to your remembrance, and you shall have great understanding of it all in Jesus' name. It shall be well with you, and I'll see you tomorrow by the grace of God. So God bless you. Have a splendid night. It's late already, so I won't say you go and eat. So don't eat. All right, so I don't have bloated tummy tomorrow morning, but take good care of yourself. All right, bye-bye now.